Hello, everyone. We're here in place of Danny Vegas. This is Charlene Ruiz.
And I'm Lorraine Lindsay.
Absolutely. We're two chicks in a pod. That's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about who we are, why we're here, and what makes Danny Vegas awesome for bringing us on this show. So we really, really, really appreciate that. Lorraine, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been a life coach now since 2014 is when I was certified. Been in Vegas for a very, very, very long time. Lived my life on provision. I've been very successful provisionally, and now I'm living life on purpose.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think one of the topics that we spoke about talking briefly on and kind of flowing through it was your occupation versus your work, because I think we're both pretty much rounded in life experience with our career, with our relationships, with ourself. And as we grow, these are questions that are asked often, not only from others, but from ourselves. So with that, as we talked about briefly yesterday, occupation versus your work. Can you add a little bit to that?
Well, I guess there's different components when you think about it. So when you look at occupation is kind of maybe the job. Again, what I said with provision, like what provides me my means, and then there's the purpose, which maybe be more so like what you're saying as far as work. Mm-hmm. There's different things when you're doing things with passion versus provision.
Absolutely.
So that's how kind of I look at that.
Absolutely. And for example, for myself, someone that's in the industry of health, wellness, fitness, coaching, and in leadership, I've been in the industry of real estate for a very long time, 18 years this August, and have found my passion of fitness in 13 years this year it'll be. And as I became more involved with myself, my passion has grown in any area that has to do with self-development and wellness. And it also follows me in all other areas of my life, such as my occupations. And for that, my work, who I am, what I do, my purpose in life is part of my occupation. So it sounds kind of confusing, but it really isn't. You take occupation, and that's what do you do to make a living? The actions that you do and your work. Who are you, and how do you bring that into your work environment? So do you want to add to that?
The way that I look at it is that, and we've talked about this before, where there's three components to your life. There's your work, there's yourself, and then there's relationships you have in life. And those level in priority at different times in your life. There was a time in my life when my son was younger where work was a priority because I needed to provide for him. And then with that, myself came second because I had to keep up myself in order to do the jobs that I was doing at the time. And then from there it was relationships. And so I found that when work and self were priorities, my relationships kind of took a back burner, and that's where I would see where most of my struggles were. So if you kind of see that all of those are components for purpose, for what you're doing, because purpose doesn't necessarily mean a job or an occupation. I think sometimes people think, oh, my purpose has to be something very grandiose, but your purpose could be just getting yourself and your mind state good, or your purpose could be the way you see yourself as far as health and fitness, or it could be I'm ready for a career change, or I'm transitioning from a kid at home to going off to college. So there's different things in different phases.
Absolutely. And one of the main things I find is who you are being in alignment with what you do. So being your occupation. And for many people, the choice isn't there. They have to do what it is that they're doing to provide for their family. And so they're unfulfilled with bringing that into that space. But if you kind of take that thought away and bring who you are into your workspace, you find that there is an alignment in there. You just have to kind of get a little bit more clear and present with what that is.
Do you find that that's difficult at times, though? Like when you say to bring yourself into a workspace. We had some Facebook friends post some questions and kind of give us some content. And one of the questions was, how do you, let's say, as a woman, find your space in the work? So when you say to bring it there, do you find that that's difficult at times if it's not welcoming?
Sometimes, and that's where the energy can shift, and that's where you really have to take some self-assessment, which is where the self-work comes in, and really evaluate, is it the space that you're in, or is it you? Because when you're sound in who you are, it doesn't matter what your environment is. People don't have to receive you in that way as long as you're in alignment with that for yourself. So in occupation, you're there for a goal, and that goal is to resolve or do a work in order to make a income, if we're talking about that type of occupation. Your work is just bringing who you are without changing that into your environment, if that answers your question.
It does, and I guess that the next thing would be for a lot of people, well, we get that. We've gone through the journey of how to get there, but I guess where do you start with that? Where do you look at where I'm at, what's my occupation per se, and where do I start with maybe finding myself in it or discovering all that? What would you say was your step? How did you get there?
Well, that's a great question. I'm a woman of service, so everything I do is about helping other people. And my first occupation in that space has been in the world of real estate. I'm a lender. The service in that is helping someone fulfill, or a family fulfill, the dream of home ownership, or helping them with some type of financial goal that has to do with their mortgage in some way, shape, or form, their wealth, whatever that is, educating and giving back. In the health and fitness space, same idea. I'm serving others to give them tools that they already have. They already have this. I'm just a messenger to deliver that to them in order to create their goal. So in everything that I've personally done, that's where I see my work lives, in that occupation.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, then what you're saying is the first you have to find the inner you, or what you are. So for you, it's service.
Correct.
So what you do in any occupation, whether it's being a mother, whether it's being a wife, whether it's you in your job, is you want to give an act of service. So it's a matter of identifying what your gift is, so to speak, and just serving that gift. Is that's kind of what I'm
That's
taking
absolutely.
away.
And again, I'm not a surface person, so I know that you can hear some words, at least myself, and it goes down and deep into levels. To keep it simple, a gift is where you find your excitement in life. A gift is whatever when you're in it, you get excited and you just want more of that. That's a gift. There's no instructions that say this is how you find your gift. You just have to hear yourself and listen. And that's where self-care comes in.
And I think sometimes it's hard for people to understand that and hear that. And a lot of times I'll tell people when they ask me, "What I don't know. What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing?" And you don't have to have an answer. It's just a matter of just paying attention to what life is offering you. There are times when I start a conversation with someone, or someone starts a conversation with me, and it excites me. That right there, it tells me, okay, this is something that excites me about my life. There are things that I hear, or people that I'm around, that kind of push me away. That tells me right there, this is something that I don't like. You don't have to come up with this beautiful answer. You just have to kind of let your life kind of guide you in directions of, this feels good, this doesn't feel good. It's kind of like an innate thing that we should pay more attention to.
Absolutely. And success does follow that. I know for myself, for a long time in life, I always was chasing this clock. Time was going to run out all the time, and it wasn't enough. Nothing was ever enough, until I finally had to take a step back. Circumstances occur, and really get clear on what am I in a hurry about, and for, and why. Because there's no amount of money that I can make that's going to change that feeling of needing more, and or there's nothing that I can reach out for outside of me that's going to fulfill me in that space. But it's easier said from me than it is understood from others. So that's, again, your own journey in life. But as time goes on and experiences occur, and you're around people that can get you, because that's another factor
That
too,
is key.
then you learn about what that is. And it does go into your business, it does go into your career, and it does bring in abundance of relationship, abundance of finances, abundance of opportunities, such as we have here today with Danny Vegas Live and on this show now. It's just being receptive to who you are out there and doing the work. Like, nothing's handed over to anyone. You do have to put yourself out there.
And there's steps and there's processes.
Absolutely.
and all of that, and sometimes we're not very forgiving of ourselves. So, I mean, I totally agree with you, and it's just, it's a process. You have to live life one step at a time, and you're key on what you say about following the people that you surround yourself with. My mom used to always tell me, if you show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. And sometimes that's a start, just kind of simplifying everything and saying, who do I talk to? What are my conversations about? What are the programs that I watch? Why am I feeling stuck, or why am I feeling unhappy, or like you talked about in your last segment about juggling or dating and things like that, or I'm married, I've been married for this long, how do I bring, there's all these different elements to life, but we just have to take it one step at a time.
Imperfect action. Nobody has it all together. I don't care who you are, where you come from, we all have stuff. It just looks different, but it's the same. Really, it is. And perspective.
So we're ending this first segment, or this segment here.
Yes, we are.
There are some specific topics that we want to talk about in the next segment from our Facebook friends, which we want to address maybe one or two of them, and then talk
Absolutely.
about some exciting things. So we appreciate you tuning in, and stay tuned for the next segment.
Yeah. So just real quick, do you have a few of those topics? Just we got a couple seconds before
I'll say this: juggling life.
There we
How
go.
do you do it?
juggling life. So we're
a big
two
one.
chicks in a pod, and stay tuned.